Good evening and thank you for joining us for another episode of Business PNG. The inaugural Youth Summit was held in Port Moresby over the past few days and had hosts National Development Bank and the National Youth Development Authority pleased with the turnout. Young people from around the country attended in numbers to be part of the one-of-a-kind summit that showcased various problems as well as solutions youth face in starting their own businesses. The inaugural Entrepreneurial Youth Summit proved to be a success as youth in business from all over the country congregated at the Holiday Inn in Port Moresby. The summit was co-hosted by the National Development Bank Investments and the National Youth Development Authority, amongst several other private sector players. The first ever summit aimed to engage the youth of Papua New Guinea in businesses across sectors, as well as address the impediments many of the country's youth face and identify solutions.
Two of the main aims of the summit is to listen from the young people, identify what their challenges are, what are the obstacles they face in getting into business. And once they present those challenges, we can all work together to come up with multi-sectoral solutions to addressing those problems. Also, we'd like to showcase different opportunities that are available to young people. So I'm looking forward with the turnout that we have. I'm sure that we'll be able to get a lot of feedback from the young people, and we'll be able to tailor solutions to address those needs, if not specifically, then generally.
Recent statistics have shown that around 24,000 students graduate annually from high school. However, only 4,000 of these continue on to tertiary institutions. What then happens to the remaining 20,000 young men and women? Challenges that face the youth of PNG include the lack of further education, the lack of employment, the lack of opportunities, and the lack of government readily available programs.
Youth have been neglected, and by focusing on youth, it's a good move to bring them into the mainstream of economic activity. However, I'm encouraged that they want to give youth some tools and knowledge about business and encourage them to apply for loans. But I still am concerned that youth don't have the essential skills to run a business and to sustain it, and so they will need to have coaching while they are setting up their business, and assistance with markets and on on-the-job training to help them grow their business. So while it's useful to have information and to kind of develop networks and tell them what's available, a lot more needs to be done to help youth to grow their business.
The saying "money makes the world go around" is too much of a reality to be ignored. In a highly monetized world where 90% of human endeavor is to make money, many school leavers who fail to continue on to tertiary education and lack the skills to find employment often feel useless and redundant, disconnected from society, and are left to find other means of sustaining their livelihood. According to Mr. Yaninen, entrepreneurship could be a viable way to address and eliminate youth unemployment.
One of the major concerns they'll be raising will be access to finance. They have really great ideas and they'd like to start, but they just lack the starting capital. So that's really one of the main issues that will come out. We already have a program to address it, but then the market is so large, and NDB can't do everything itself. So that's really one of the main challenges that will be coming out. Other things will be access to markets. We have young people with really great products, but they don't have markets for that. So we'll have to really work out how we can get these young youth-owned businesses having access to markets, not so much just retailing, but also in the services that they offer. We also have a lot of young people in creative arts who are artists. Unfortunately, they're not able to earn a living from the art that they produce, whether it be music or graphic or whatever. So we're trying to look at ways to address that as well, and so that they can actually be able to earn a living from what they do, and it shouldn't be just a hobby for them.
It's obvious there is an urgent need to have strong policies in place to address this issue of youth unemployment in the country. In an exclusive interview with Business PNG, Norit Luo, Director General of the National Youth Development Authority, stressed the need for a major policy framework to counter this growing problem. Luo gave a presentation on the National Youth Employment Framework, stating that it is a policy document that has been developed after extensive consultation with stakeholders and following research on the youth employment situation in the country.
We've done a lot of work in consultation with stakeholders in the country to develop a policy framework. We don't have a policy in this country to address youth unemployment situation in the country, nor the Department of Labor and Employment. And therefore, we have decided to develop one, and so we have included everyone. And the theme of this summit is one of the pillars of the employment framework. And so we are emphasizing and we are pushing forward that this is a viable means, viable way of addressing youth unemployment. There could be others, but it is one way, important way, which we should emphasize more.
Following the summit, a series of recommendations will be presented to government and other stakeholders about how to remove obstacles that young people face in trying to get into business. As far as summits go in Papua New Guinea, not many have the motivation, potential and inspiration to bring together Papua New Guineans from different walks of life, let alone flying from outside provinces, because of a single socio-economic factor that drastically tips the balance of society. This was what the inaugural Entrepreneurial Youth Summit 2015 aimed to accomplish, and they did just that at the two-day summit. Business PNG had the privilege of speaking to members of the public who paid to participate in the summit, some who flew as far as Kainantu, as well as local Port Moresby residents.
I just wanted to see what other opportunities that lie ahead for us young Papua New Guineans. I mean, for myself, I've got a job already, but just to come out there and see what other opportunities that I could venture into, and I'd like to gain some further practical insight into running a business, starting a business, and it's really encouraging to hear motivational speeches by some of our leaders and the stories, the struggles that they had to go through, the sacrifices that they've gone through, which tells us what we have to do ourselves to gain that success. It's not that easy, pretty much, yeah.
This is the first time event for me, so it's very interesting hearing from the different speakers, and I think it's a good way for us as young entrepreneurs to air our views, our concerns, and learned a lot, especially from Mr. Thierry here, especially things to do with business and how a mindset to do with business and running a business.
I think it's an opportunity for me to attend this program because as a young person that actually going into business, I've encountered real challenges as a real Papua New Guinean to go into real business. So I just want to observe, what this summit can do, and that can help contribute some very effective and constructive, meaningful things for the young Papua New Guineans who are aspiring to become business people. So I'm here to just witness this, and if there is an opportunity that I can also contribute, I wanted to contribute my views. So very important things that I've noticed is that we have a big problem in our country, and that is unemployment problem. And we have a lot of the figures that have come out from the summit here. I can see that most of our youths are on the street and they're hanging loose. So I wonder where the government, does he have a policy or does he have a framework that can help involve the youths effectively to partake in the country and the development of the country? That's one big question that I have. So I think one question or one important thing that I can see is that the government should think critically and to address the unemployment problem.
I saw the challenge to get out into doing my own thing because I saw heaps of opportunities popping out in the country, and I felt that as a young person I didn't want to work for anybody. I wanted to be self-employed as well as I want to help as much Papua New Guineans as I can, because seeing the flood of foreigners coming into the country to invest and seeing how our young Papua New Guineans are being abused or being overused and overworked and underpaid in the foreign, the private sector industries and all that. I felt that it was about time, 40 years now, and we should start looking at building up young people to get into business and start motivating and providing the environment. So basically, I think the government of the day should work closely with the financial institutions and other bodies that can support, provide finance for young people to get into business, like provide the avenue, make requirements easy for young people to pay up loans, make a loan workable for them, so not really stressful, knowing that repayment rates are very high and getting into business is a risk and all that stuff. But create opportunities, make finance available so young people can get their heads into investing into themselves in this country, because once they get into business, they know to discipline themselves, and then they start growing business and money is floating within the economy. Instead of getting foreigners coming in, investing in the country, you don't see money floating, but money is being locked away, and it's affecting the economy at the end of the day. So yeah, my challenge is for the government to provide as much avenue to the young people in ways it can to help them to build and start, providing the avenue for them to get into business. Yeah.
Amongst the many accomplished youth in attendance was a young man that travelled in from the Hela province. Eric Pico is a hard-working business owner with humble beginnings, but what differentiates him from other entrepreneurs is that he is a person living with disability. Despite his disability, however, Eric is undeterred. He shared his story at Business PNG in the hopes to motivate other youth in the country, and especially the youth in his home province.
In my province, Hela, I came from the resource area, LNG project area. So as a management graduate, and then having contact with the skills in management and sales and marketing, I thought that it was a good idea to start a business for my own. Okay, so I started in 2009. I came to Moresby. And then I registered myself, went to LPA and then got a certificate. And then I started off with one laptop and a small 3-in-1 printer, and then a little genset, 2-stroke. Yeah. So that helped me. After that, before that, I went and then I identified a problem in my district, very remote part of Highlands provinces. So I found that one of the officers of the government, especially a personal assistant, she was sitting there using the typewriter. Yeah. So typewriter, as we are going towards our country, is like 40 years now, and then we are going towards 21st and 22nd century, yeah. And we can't be using the typewriter, so that was challenging to me as a computer literate and then also educated. So I went there and then, I bought those things with only 5,000 kina. And then I started writing the correspondences and assisted them voluntarily. And then I just started from my house. And then, I was able to see money coming in. And fortunately, where there is no demand, no supply of this kind of services, you will see that the demand is high. So actually, I 10 kina per page, I charged them. And then actually money flooded in. Yeah. And then I went up, and then now, I have 2 shops in the headquarters of the provincial headquarters, Tari, and then I'm also supplying the stationaries to the all schools in the Hela province. Okay, and then when I was doing that, so many people, it was surprising to them, and then they caught up with me and some other, like in business world, you won't run free. There is always a competitor there. So they flooded in, and they were also doing the same thing that I was doing. So I went and then I tightened myself and then diversified my business. Into the demanding areas like tourism, and then now I have a track set for the tourists. And after 2 weeks ago, I was able to receive a tourist from west of River Jordan in Middle East. Okay, so I took him all the way and then to close to Sepik and all around, and then exciting caves and so many things there. So even to the extreme of seeing the bird of paradise there, dancing there on the tree. So he was really excited. So he did a publication, and I think he called me and then said yesterday and said that more tourists will be flooding in. So that's an opportunity for me. So I created, and then also the other of my diversification is like into lodge. I have a lodge, and then other thing is like furnitures, all white goods I'm selling. And then in 2009, 2010, that was the LNG project feed stage. So the employment opportunity was at peak, and I was able to, being a local in there, and I went and then set up a shop down there close to the LNG project area. And through that, I was able to get a substantial amount of money. And then I started building the lodge. I had a choice of whether going for buying a vehicle, Costa Bus, or like Hagens and Gorokas and other Highlands provinces do. And then there's a choice of, building a lodge. But then I made a decision, and which one was wiser. So the vehicle, not really. I went and chose building investment in tourism. So now I have a permanent lodge, which now I have some permanent clients, like Coffee Industry Corporation. Now I've leased to them, and then like usually, and then when I made a huge investment into the lodge and this property development, and then I was able to see that I was owing a lot of money, but then my cash flow began to drop down, and then I have to rescue myself. So I have a unlimited liability. So I went to the BSP and asked for a loan, and then they were very pleased to see my transaction record in a bank. So they gave me, and at first I got about 50,000 kina to back me up, and then later I got another 50,000, and then just recently I got 100,000. So now I've been paying and struggling, and then at the time I had the experience of all this time I was receiving, and then now I have to spend and give away. So I have about a couple of 20 or 28,000 left before I'm finished with the financial burden. I free myself.
Young people like Eric are widespread and only lack attention and opportunities. To them, NDB Investment CEO Des Janinen had this to say.
For young people watching at home, don't feel discouraged, don't feel that you can't do anything because you've dropped out of school or you don't have any opportunities. What we'd like to encourage you is to think big, have a dream, have a plan, but start small. Start with what you have. And when you're faithful in the little things, you'll be able to be faithful in the bigger things. So that's really our advice to young people out there. Have a dream, don't give up. A lot of people have succeeded. You've got wonderful role models. And the beautiful thing is that now you have support. Now you see all of these organizations coming together to back you up. And so whatever dream you have, hold on to it. Get in touch with us and our partners, and we'll be happy to make your dreams come true, hopefully.
And that's all we have for you tonight. For more business news, if you would simply like to view this episode again, visit MTV online at www.mtv.com.pg. Or to join the conversation, like our page on Facebook for daily business news, or follow us on Twitter at BusinessPNG using the hashtag BusinessPNG. Until next week, enjoy the rest of your viewing on MTV. I'm Mia Jarari, and this was Business PNG.